What's up, YouTube? It's Biblical Truther. I know some people were probably waiting on me to make a video after last weekend, but you know, it kind of explains itself in my opinion. But what I have been seeing a lot of is Project 2025, and I'm not sure if Trump calls it Project 47, but I've been hearing a lot about this, and on its face, some of it sounds real good, but um, some of it is going to be quite crazy. But this is some new revelations that came to me today, and I want to share it with you guys. And it has to do with a dream that my wife had that I've shared on. I don't know if it was this channel or my old channel, but I went to my old channel yesterday looking for it, and I had about 12 videos removed since the last time I've checked that channel, which has been a while. But I guess that Supreme Court decision or whatever that took place a few weeks ago, giving them the right to censor, they're doing it. I've gotten quite a few that were removed. But first, I want to share the dream that my wife had. I was going to wait to the end, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. I don't know if you guys remember when I shared this, but she had a dream. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago about Trump and this kind of event that happened last weekend happening. Only in her dream, it was indoors. It was a rally indoors, and they didn't miss. It wasn't a graze. Um, she's pretty firm in that he was taken out, but not to lunch. And it was done by, and she just called me this morning and told me this, but you know how there's a big controversy about the guy in the bleachers that got hit and supposedly died, right? The fire chief. Well, she said that she had not seen a picture of this man until this morning, and it brought back that dream that was the exact man in the dream who was basically on the Secret Service team who did the next one, if they might be a next one. Um, and then she said her dream swapped to a pandemic that I've been talking about for a long time, where people were bleeding out of their ears and eyes and had this weird rabidness about them, or like an animal with rabies type deal. But it looked very much like zombies, but they weren't zombies. If you understand what I'm saying, it's more like a Ebola type situation, but not Ebola. It was something else. But she called me this morning and told me that she just seen a picture of this guy who was in the bleachers, and everybody's wondering how in the world he got hit from the angle that Trump was supposedly grazed from and all that. There was a lot of theories being thrown around about curving bullets and all that. You know, that movie, I think it was Mr. and Mrs. Smith, maybe, where they were curving bullets, swinging the gun in such a way that the bullet curved or whatever. I don't know if that's even possible, but just a reference. So I wanted to share this dream because last night Trump announced that every rally he has from now on until the election are going to be indoors. And that's crazy because what I'm fixing to get into, this revelation that I had this morning, it's very possible, if this were to happen, that he's going to come back in 3 days. Or, I think it's on my old channel. I got a video. It might be on this one. I don't know. I've done so many videos. But it's titled The Tale of Two Trumps. I wanted to watch that video again before I made this one. It's been so many years ago, but I could have shared that dream in that video. I just don't remember. And I didn't watch it before I made this. So here we are. If you're interested, go check it out. It's called Tale of Two Trumps. That, the whole theory behind the red tie and the blue tie Trump, it's been a thing talked about. And I forget that doctor that was on his committees, or whatever you call them, when the officials that Trump appoints or whatnot. Ben Carlson, I think is his name. He was saying back then that there were definitely two Trumps. There's a red tie Trump and a blue tie Trump. Is that possibly why we had a Democratic Trump growing up and now we have a Republican Trump? I don't know. But there was that thing back in that I covered in this video back in during the last election season, that there was a man, I want to say it was Oklahoma, at a gas station that was a identical match to Trump, and it was all over the news and stuff. You guys remember that? So that could be very well a possibility that one of them would be taken out and the other one would come back in 3 days, and all the people who believe that he's Jesus reincarnated are well, they don't believe in reincarnation. Scratch that. It's the second return of Jesus in a human body of all things, but it's not reincarnation, right? But anyway, in this agenda or project 2025, there's a lot of things, and Trump has not endorsed this, but it will be part of the plan when he gets in there. I've been telling you guys this for years. The Republicans are the true oppressors in all this, and it will come down in such a way that it will be like the Crusades. People will be sentencing people to death in public squares who are not Christians, who are not worshiping the first beast. And the reason I say that is what I'm fixing to get into, is that yesterday my wife and I were talking about America, and that the etymology of the word, which I don't have for this video, means land of the feathered serpent. Now, I've equated Yahweh and Quetzalcoatl and all that, and there's I think it's Aztec or Mayan reliefs of a man being crucified. The whole Jesus thing, it's been found in South America. I showed that in some videos in the past, but I want to show you guys this, because after we were talking about it, she was like, you remember the etymology of America means land of the feathered serpent, right? So I Googled, what is the meaning of America? Check this out. What is the meaning of the word America? Amerik, Amaruk, it means land in the west, the land of milk and honey, and some variants of the word America, but the etymology means land of the feathered serpent. So they openly admit in that definition that this is the land of milk and honey. And what does the Bible say about the promised land? It's the land that flows with milk and honey, right? It's Yahweh's land promised to the Israelites. Well, there's been, the awakening is kicking off in heavy gear now. There's a lot of people coming to the realization that the millennial reign has already passed. We're in the little season of Satan. The whole world's deceived. And that, and I just forgot where I was going with that. Land of the feathered serpent. So Yahweh, in my opinion, in the Old Testament, is Satan. He is the devil. He is the old serpent, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, as it says in Revelations. But the second beast, and in Daniel, it's spoken of, the Antichrist, the second beast, will cause all the people to worship the first beast, right? So if Trump is a main component of the Noahide laws, and you can be beheaded for worshiping a God that's not sanctioned by whoever's enforcing these laws, then you can be beheaded. But it's not only that. Trump signed in to capital punishment as beheadings to be one of the things that you can choose to have as your exit of this world. If you have the death penalty, he did sign that back in as a way of capital punishment before he left office the last time, which is not funny to me, not surprising, because I've shared with you guys, I was told years ago that and he deceived the whole world when it come to the whole world rallying behind Trump at the first election. But so back to the beast, the second beast, causing everyone to worship the first beast. Well, if in Hosea 3, Yahweh himself describes himself as being, going about as a roaring lion, as feet of a bear, the whole cheetah thing, the whole Revelation 13 description of the beast is exactly what Yahweh himself says in Hosea 3 that he is, or that he would manifest as, to go around basically to kill, steal, and destroy is what he was saying he was going to do. But if you can, compare Hosea 3 to Revelation 13, Yahweh is the beast. So Trump being, the king of Israel and all that on the Cyrus coin, the shekel, the half shekel or whatever it is that you're supposed to pay the people to get into the temple and whatnot, then these Noahide laws come straight from there, if I'm not mistaken, and they've been signed into law here in America, the land of the feathered serpent, all the way back to Carter, if I'm not mistaken. It may go back further, but I know there's pictures of Carter all the way up to Trump and Biden, with the top hat people surrounding them while they sign these into law, but they have not been enforced yet. And one of the things in these 7 Noahide laws is the fact that if you're not worshiping the God that's approved by the world at the time, that you can be beheaded. But it goes way further than that, giving these top hat people power to where, like in the Old Testament in the Torah, it says you're supposed to have, 2 witnesses to a crime or whatnot to punish someone. Well, in the Noahide laws, the 7 Noahide laws, you no longer have to have 2 witnesses. You only need 1. So any Gentile that gets accused by one of these top hat people can be beheaded. No trial, no nothing. So when you start digging into these Project 2025, a lot of those things in that project or talking points kind of back up what would happen if the Noahide laws were to be instituted. Now, Project 47, Trump has been, I guess, noted as saying that the 2025, Project 2025 and 47 go hand in hand, and that it's basically going to make whoever's president, which would be him, king. Going to do away with or redo a lot of the government agencies, give a whole lot more power to the executive branch. But another thing I noticed in there is, a lot of Christians are going to back this, the pro-choice or pro-life versus pro-choice. But in Revelations, it talks about the daily sacrifice being taken away. And if I'm not mistaken, the Antichrist does that. So what would be a daily sacrifice today? Most people equate sacrifice in the Bible to sacrificing animals for atonement and such. But what if it's not? What if all these child sacrifices that took place by the Israelites, give me just a second. Sorry about that, but you might say, what do you mean child sacrifice? Well, they went through at the command of Yahweh, dashing children on stones and, killing men, women, and children, creeping things, animals, you name it. They went in and slaughtered everybody. And I was always taught that was because it was the, seed of the fallen angels and all that. So they were sanctified and justified in what they did. But nah. They was of their father the devil when they were brought into existence. From Jacob, when his name got turned to Israel. Just read the whole story. They deceived Abraham for Esau's birthright. But anyway, so now, in our current America, hospitals are churches. In Black's Law Dictionary, if you look it up, hospitals are considered religious institutions just the same as a church is. So with this plan, when you start to want to have parenthood, you know what I'm saying? What they have been doing in these temples is sacrificial rituals of these unborn, trying to be careful how to say this, because if they're just taking crazy videos down, like a video I did called Hurricane Christ to Baal, where I talked about them making America, you know, basically worship Baal and whatnot. But anyway, what if these sacrifices that they're talking about in the Bible that happen daily at these places that plan, you know, help you do all your planning out for your, you know, upcoming parenthood, if you get my drift, if those are stopped, uh, that would be the daily sacrifice being done away with, right? We know we don't, you know, most people anyway in the religious sect don't sacrifice animals for you know, forgiveness and whatnot. But there is still these things happening in this world, and whether you want to believe it or not, I seen a TikTok the other day of this young girl saying that she was Christian, but she was pro-choice. Like, are you serious? Well, how about you choose to keep your legs closed and you won't have this problem? I understand that people get into situations where it's forcibly done and they end up pregnant and whatnot. Uh, but there's a lot of people out there that are barren that would love to take that child and raise them as their own. But, you know, apparently that's not an option these days. It's got to be death and nothing. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's what I see with these Project 2025 and Project 47 or whatever Trump calls it. He's going to do away with this daily sacrifice. That's just another thing that I see tying into the whole Beast of Revelation, the AC, the Antichrist. You know what I mean? In Daniel, he fulfills just about every prophecy in Daniel that has to do with the Antichrist. And you know, from the fact that it talks about in Daniel that the AC would have you know, venerate the God of his fathers. Just funny that Trump's whole penthouse is done up in Apollo memorabilia. Got the apotheosis of Apollo or whatever it's called on the ceiling. Everybody's seen the pictures, but he is also, and I made a video about this, him being the 9/11 president. What does Revelation 9/11 entail? A key was given to him, the keys to open the bottomless pit. I think that's the one. And Abaddon, comes out. He's the 9/11 president. He's the Revelation 9 AC beast, whatever you want to talk or whatever you want to call it. But this is how. And I've referenced videos in the past, I've even shared them in the community sections of people that are putting all these scriptures straight out of the Bible, where Yahweh is described as a dragon in the Old Testament. That's how the second beast causes all who worship the first beast. But then you've got to ask yourself, well, don't the dragon give him his power? Well, America is the most powerfulest country in the world, right? So if America is the land of the feathered serpent, or i.e. dragon, would not his power come from the military might of America? Possibly his allies, you know, because what I'm seeing unfold here is what I've been telling everybody from the jump when I started on YouTube, is that he's going to be the one. That party's going to be the one. It's almost like the Democrats, you know, even though people hate the Democrats, I think the Democrats are the Republican whipping boys. I also have a video on my other channel where I'd asked people, do y'all remember back in the 80s when the conservative portion of the government were the Democrats? Do y'all remember that? Because all my family growing up, before I was old enough to understand what government was and all that, all my family were Democrats. So when I got old enough to realize and understand, you know, the two-party system, I was leaned towards more Republican, because I think it was right around Reagan. Might have been the one before Reagan, but I think it was right around Reagan where the party's philosophies swapped. The Republicans used to be the Democrats are now the Republicans. So I guess technically the Democrats are still bad. If they're the new Republicans, then hey, they're still in charge, right? But I just see it as this is the way it's going to happen, man. The Republican Party is going to be uh, that beast system. They're going to bring in that beast system. They're going to do some good things, but they're going to do a lot of bad things. Just like Trump with his real ID and all this other stuff with the voting rights and whatnot, that's going to apply to all of us, just not illegal immigrants. So another thing I wanted to talk about was my wife sent me she did send me, but I can't find it right now. But it was a quote by Melania Trump after, what happened last weekend to Trump. She said that this is a great opportunity for both parties to unite, right? And I couldn't find it, or I'd share it with you right now. But what color do you get when you mix red and blue? Purple, right? Purple, magenta, lavender, all purple colors, right? So I want to shout out EnterTheStars because he did an excellent video earlier, but he still has not come to the realization about the dragon of the Old Testament. And that's fine. Not everybody's going to want to, they're going to be too scared to be sentenced to hell or whatnot to actually open their eyes to that truth. But because Yahweh gives them a spirit of fear of going to hell, right? Well, not my father. But anyway, I'm going to still give him a shout out because he did an excellent video earlier and he had brought up the Lavender song by Snoop Dogg. And in that video, and I think it was 88 months or something to the day before what happened last weekend to Trump, that video came out where he was doing a little mock thing of actually, banging Trump with a toy popper. And Trump being dressed like a clown and whatnot. But Monograph has been doing a whole bunch of videos over the last 2 years about the Magenta Code. And the Magenta Code is I don't even want to get into it in this video because it's a lot of information. But what if that Magenta Code, that song being titled Lavender, was actually these two parties merging into one, to the purple, which is associated with royalty and stuff, right? So what if Trump gets in there, he gets all this power, transferred to the executive branch, and he starts writing in laws to where he's the last president? Didn't they have a book, Ingersoll Lockwood wrote it, I believe, in the late 1800s, called The Last President, and a man named Trump, or Don, I'm not sure, I get them and the Marvelous Adventures of Baron Trump mixed up. But it's a good segue to what I want to show you now. I didn't do a video on this, but me and my wife was just tossing some things back and forth to each other about Trump being the reincarnation, or I know that's a trigger word for some people, but Trump is Apollo. I want to show y'all this bust of Apollo and Trump, a younger Trump, side by side. Check this out. Now, you might think I'm stretching, but there's not just Trump looking like Apollo to me, but there's quite a few people who are out here that, got millions of followers on YouTube preaching some craziness and alien stuff that look like the old guys. If you start looking at some big names on YouTube and start, just comparing, I forget the lady's name, she sent me one, New Age guru, and she looks almost like identical to Athena. Well, it's wild. But I forget, was it Tom Horn who said that the old gods will be coming back in the end times? Well, I think they might already be here. But on that note, with the whole Apollo and Trump thing, maybe that's why he venerates Apollo in his penthouse, right? That's why he's a lover of gold, like it says in Daniel. Do y'all remember back in the 90s when they were having these documentaries around Trump? I think it might have been where he had his apprentice show, that they were showing his jet, his 747 that he flies around in, being all gold inlaid with 24 karat pure gold. They were talking about how the faucets in the bathrooms were not just plated gold, but they were saying they were solid gold. Like everybody knows, Trump and gold is like peanut butter and jelly. You know what I'm saying? He loves his gold. But the Apollo thing just seals the deal for me. I see Apollo in, the younger Trump. Back when he did the Oprah Winfrey interview, I think it was Oprah Winfrey who asked him about him running for president in the future, and he was like, "Yeah, maybe I will, but not right now." Yada yada yada. You know what I'm saying? But this magenta thing, and the fact that Melania, why she would just put it out there like, merging these two parties, but just considering the colors merging, you get a magenta or you get a lavender. You get a one party, one world government, right? With Trump at the helm. So also Monty and EnterTheStars have been talking about Palantir. Most people don't know about Palantir. It's basically a data, what they call it, basically where they take everything you do personally online and stick it into a folder just for you. That's how, the algorithms know you better than you know yourself. But most of this is based out of where at? The Middle East. Is Ra, yeah, that place. The one that makes the Intel chip and all that. Well, they also did some videos back in the day about the Kraken. The Kraken is also kind of sort of hand in hand with the Palantir program, where they are gathering up info. So then it hit me this morning that if this is the case, and that I'm not sure if it calls out Palantir by name, but you'll have to go watch that video EnterTheStars did this morning. But I want to say it mentions Palantir by name. I'm just not 100% sure. But basically, if you go against this new party, you will be hunted down, possibly beheaded, but you're definitely going to be hunted down. And that brought back my wife's dream, where I told you guys years ago that she had a dream where I wasn't home, but she was on her way home with the kids, and there was 2 UN soldiers at the corner of my property sitting on my road. And I live on a dead-end road, but they were sitting right at the corner of my property. And so she turned into the neighbor's house, and she walked out there and asked him, like, "Hey, what are y'all doing? You look like military. What's the military doing out here?" And they said they were looking for me. So, and these people had, black outfits with baby blue helmets. And my wife told me the dream. She had no idea that the UN wore baby blue helmets. So maybe because I have been outspoken for so many years on this platform about the deception, the worldwide deception that I was told was happening or starting to happen way back with the Yellow Vest protests, that he deceived the whole world. So most people, after being polarized over the last 4 years, are going to roll with this 2025 and Project 47. They're going to be 100% on board because on its face, like I said, it sounds good. There's a lot of things that need to be done that are going to be done if he gets in office, if he does stick by these plans, if you will. So I just wanted to put this out there. I wanted to throw you a couple little things you can look into yourself. The Magenta Code. A lot of people, I think, that covered that, not just Monograph. But go check out the video from EnterTheStars this morning. I'll see if I can link it in the description, so you can just go there and check it out. But he gets into some stuff in there too. He actually reads from the actual documents, some of the things that they're planning on doing, and he makes some good points. But he has not come to the realization that this murderous, genocidal Yahweh from the Old Testament, he is the first beast. Go read Hosea 3. He describes himself, supposedly in his own words, as the beast of Revelation 13. So the second beast is going to cause the world to worship the first. How are you going to do that? Maybe it's already happening. Maybe Christianity is spreading so rapidly now, and most Christians don't even realize that the God that they serve, who gives them a spirit of fear for being sent to hell, is actually the dragon. That's crazy, man. But a lot more people are coming up. So I'm making this video for the elect's sake. I'm not saying I'm an elect. I've done some horrible things, but I've repented of it. I've changed my life. I try to do the best I can now. But people make it hard out here, man. But like that TikTok where that girl was saying, you know, she's a Christian. She loves Jesus, but she just wants the abortions to be available to people. You know, kill your baby while they're still in the womb. That's crazy, bro. If you read the book of Enoch, the fallen angels taught man how to do that. So if they became demons or their offspring became demons, you would think that that practice that they taught humans wouldn't be the go-to thing when you get pregnant for most hoochie mamas, if you ask me, because they're not conservative at any stretch of the imagination. You know, want to blame the child for ruining your life when you could have just not laid down and did what you did to get pregnant, right? That's just my opinion. But I think it's sick when people stand up here claiming to be a Christian and is pro-choice. That just blows my mind. But anyway, I'm gonna get off of here, man. This is a long enough video. It's pretty crazy, I know, but I'm pretty sure this is the way it's fixing to unfold if we make it, because we still gotta have a guy come and call fire down from heaven, right? And if you did go check out Static in the Attic's video that I mentioned a while back, a couple videos ago, about the whole Yahweh being the dragon or Satan, I had to think about it for a second, sorry. But Static in the Attic, if you guys went and checked out his channel and listened to some of his videos, there's another guy that he references that's talking about the same thing and has been for a while, correlating, you know, Old Testament scripture with, you know, the writings or the sayings of Jesus. And one of those is the fact that two of the apostles had mentioned to Jesus whenever he was, I think, having a little disagreement with somebody, saying that, should we call down fire from heaven? Jesus responded and told them that you know not the manner of spirit of which you are basically invoking here. So they were saying they wanted to call fire down from heaven like Elijah. And Elijah did it for who? Yahweh, right? So Jesus telling them, nah, we're not invoking that spirit. That's not the right spirit. So just another thing to kind of cement the fact that Yahweh, Satan, the serpent, the devil, all of them, you know, they're pretty much the same. But it's very confusing reading the Old Testament, because you need discernment. You need discernment because it's all mingled together. The Father, the true Father, because Jesus never addressed God the Father, the Creator, the true Creator, as anything other than Father. Never called him Yahweh. But I just find it funny that Yahweh and Yahweh kind of, you know, have the same beginning. But I don't want to get into Gnosticism here with you guys, because I know the comments are already starting to type. If you made it this far in the video about how, you know, Gnosticism is a heresy and all this stuff because the Catholic Church said so, but then they'll turn right around and say the Catholic Church is the synagogue of Satan and the Pope's the Antichrist, but yet they say the Gnostics are bad, so I believe the Gnostics are bad. It's just crazy. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. Enough to ponder on. But this is how the second beast is going to make us worship the first. Love you guys.